November 25th, 2023, a date that will forever be etched into pro wrestling history. Hell froze over when CM Punk blew the roof off the Allstate Arena and made his historic return to the WWE in his hometown of Chicago after being gone for almost a decade. The wrestling world was once again set ablaze by the Second City Saint. After a controversial exit in 2014 that seemed like a permanent goodbye, Punk's return to the WWE was nothing short of miraculous. Fans who lost hope were suddenly electrified by those familiar opening riffs of Cult of Personality and the roar of a hometown crowd that never truly forgot their hero. Was Punk gonna win the Royal Rumble? Was Punk finally gonna get his WrestleMania main event? How will he fit into the new landscape of WWE? Who will he feud against? These were questions burning in every wrestling fan's mind. The anticipation was electric and the possibilities were endless. But many fans were wondering, would this be the triumphant comeback everyone had dreamed of, or just another chapter in Punk's complicated wrestling narrative? And now that it has been over a year since his return, today let's take a deep dive and revisit all the highs, all the lows, and all the what ifs, and see how good CM Punk's return year in WWE truly has been. So let's start at the start, shall we? It's Survivor Series 2023. The team of Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and a returning Randy Orton have just picked up a win over the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre in the main event. The show has already delivered big time. We just had the Viper make his return after being out of action for over a year, delivering RKOs out of nowhere. The baby faces are celebrating in the ring, the crowd is electric, the WWE logo is on the screen, and then
oh! What? No!
The unthinkable happens. After almost a decade of absence, CM Punk is back in the WWE. Sure, there has been rumors leading into the show about Punk making an appearance after his ugly departure from AEW, but let's be real, there are always rumors of a CM Punk WWE return whenever there's a wrestling show in Chicago.
It's hard for...
But this time it was different. This time it actually happened. The hometown hero had returned. The fans were chanting his name, the crowd was losing its mind, social media was exploding, and Punk was soaking it all in, making his intentions crystal clear.
I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money.
But not everybody was happy to see the former WWE champion back in the company. Specifically, a certain visionary wasn't feeling the vision of CM Punk. Footage of Seth Rollins flipping the bird and cursing at Punk immediately went viral all over Twitter. Then, World Heavyweight Champion was clearly in disgust at what had transpired at the end of War Games. Whether it was real or a work, Rollins' reaction instantly drew massive interest from the WWE universe. As soon as Punk signed his Raw contract, Rollins came out and welcomed him back with a few choice words. All signs pointed to an epic program between Punk and Rollins on the road to WrestleMania. And boy, what a poetic storyline it would have been. Punk, who left in WWE after the 2014 Royal Rumble due to disappointment with his booking and once again being denied the opportunity to main event WrestleMania, finally getting the chance to right the wrong by headlining the Showcase of the Immortals against the Authority's Golden Boy, the same authority that drove him out of the company. It would have been the perfect Mania comeback for the voice of the voiceless, but fate had other plans. Punk made it to the final two in the Royal Rumble, by the way I was there, only to be eliminated by Cody Rhodes and once again miss his moment. And yes, I was pissed, but that wasn't the biggest story coming out of the show. During a key moment in the match, Punk tore his right tricep after receiving a vicious Future Shock DDT from Drew McIntyre, rendering him unable to compete at WrestleMania and devastating fans worldwide. Punk came out the following night after the Royal Rumble and confirmed the news only to be interrupted by the Scottish Warrior, who instead of showing any signs of sympathy, had this to say about Punk's injury.
I prayed for this and it happened.
And to add further insult to injury, McIntyre attacked Punk's already injured arm, setting up what would go on to be the best feud of WWE in 2024. I don't care what anybody says. Matter of fact, this was the best feud in all of professional wrestling of 2024. McIntyre, who eventually earned the title shot against Rollins at WrestleMania 40, would continue to mock Punk throughout the road to the event, taking credit for putting Punk on the shelf. On night 2 of WrestleMania 40, Drew would successfully capture the World Heavyweight Championship, ending Seth Rollins' long and historic reign. But it was what happened after the match that would change everything. McIntyre wasn't content with just winning. He had to shove it in Punk's face, who was at commentary. And if you know anything about CM Punk, he is not one to back down. Punk would retaliate by viciously attacking Drew on the commentary table, opening the chance for Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, to cash in the contract and take the world title away from Drew just 5 minutes after he won it. Punk had caused Drew his WrestleMania moment, Judgment Day were celebrating, McIntyre was pissed off, and this story was just getting started. After costing Drew McIntyre his WrestleMania moment, CM Punk wasn't done making the Scottish Warrior's life a living hell, not by a long shot. The very next night on Raw, McIntyre had a chance to redeem himself in a fatal 4-way match to determine Damian Priest's first challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship. But once again, Punk emerged to play spoiler, literally holding McIntyre's leg as he was about to hit the Claymore, allowing Jey Uso to secure the victory. The fact that it was Jey Uso, another one of McIntyre's bitter rivals, who got the win only twisted the knife even deeper. For the next couple months, McIntyre kept pursuing the World Heavyweight Championship. When he challenged Damian Priest at Clash at the Castle in Scotland, it seemed like the perfect redemption story. After all, McIntyre had literally been screwed at the previous Clash in the Castle in Cardiff against Roman Reigns. And now, in his home country, surely this would be the moment, right? Well, yeah, not if CM Punk has anything to say about it. In one of the most memorable moments of the year, Punk appeared in a referee's outfit, and once again, he cost McIntyre his championship opportunity, making it clear that as long as he was around, Drew McIntyre would never become world champion. The Scottish Warrior, now fueled by even more rage, set his sights on the Money in the Bank briefcase as an alternative route to championship glory, and he actually succeeded in winning the contract, but even this victory would be short-lived, because when McIntyre attempted to cash in his guaranteed title shot on the same night that he won the briefcase, Punk appeared yet again to ruin his plans, adding McIntyre to the unfortunate list of superstars who failed their Money in the Bank cash-in attempts. Now, after all that, and by this point, CM Punk had been medically cleared to compete, and the stage was set for the official Punk vs. Drew match at SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio. The build-up to this match was intense, with both Punk and McIntyre going to extraordinary lengths to make the other's life a living hell. In a shocking moment on SmackDown, McIntyre attacked Punk in Chicago's Allstate Arena, leaving the Second City Saint in a bloody mess and taking away something that was deeply personal to Punk, a friendship bracelet made by a fan that featured the name of Punk's wife, AJ Lee, and his beloved dog, Larry. McIntyre would use this bloodstained memento to taunt Punk in the weeks leading to their match. Given the intense hatred between the two, WWE actually appointed a special guest referee for the match. And who was this? Well, it was none other than Seth freaking Rollins, a man who honestly didn't like either competitor. The SummerSlam match itself became a complex web of animosity, with McIntyre using the stolen friendship bracelet as a psychological weapon. In the closing moments of the match, Punk managed to recover the bracelet, but McIntyre stole it back after it fell in the ring. And Rollins actually after that grabbed the bracelet and put it on to keep it out of the way, but Punk did not see this and thought that Rollins was trying to mess with him. Rollins would get knocked out in the ensuing tussle, and Punk would land the GTS on McIntyre, pinning McIntyre for nearly 10 seconds. However, Rollins only recovered in the last few seconds, leading to McIntyre being able to kick out. And after a low blow and one last Claymore, McIntyre finally pinned Punk and handed Punk the L in his first singles match on a WWE PLE in over a decade. But, of course, the story wasn't over, not yet. Punk and McIntyre's second encounter came in at Bash in Berlin, and this time with a strap match stipulation. The rules were simple: touch all four corners consecutively to win. In the final moments of the match, Punk would pick up McIntyre and hit him with the GTS multiple times before touching the final corner for the win and making it 1-1 against McIntyre. But But even this decisive victory wasn't enough to end their war, with a score tied at 1 victory each, McIntyre of course having pinned Punk at SummerSlam, and Punk winning the strap match. A rubber match became inevitable. And earlier in the summer, a fan had suggested a Hell in a Cell match between the two, which Punk had dismissed, but as their rivalry reached its boiling point, it became clear that only WWE's most demonic structure could contain their hatred. This match was set for the returning Bad Blood PLE, a fitting choice as the event was home to the first ever Hell in a Cell match between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And by this point, WWE was so concerned about potential pre-match violence that they took extra measures to keep Punk and McIntyre separated until the cell door closed. When they finally met in Atlanta, Georgia, the anticipation was electric, and what followed was a masterpiece of violence and storytelling. It was less of a wrestling match and more of a war. Punk and McIntyre utilized everything at their disposal: steel chairs, ring steps, the cell itself, and even a toolbox. It was the natural culmination of months of building hatred, and these two were destined to destroy each other inside Hell in a Cell. Blood was spilled, bodies were battered, and the ring was littered with weapons, including beads from that infamous friendship bracelet. In the end, CM Punk emerged victorious, barely being able to stand, but definitively ending their trilogy. Now, this match wasn't a technical masterpiece, but it wasn't meant to be one either. It was a fight, a proper blow-off to one of the most personal rivalries in WWE history, and this match was my personal match of the year. The storyline elevated both performers, proving that Punk could still go at the highest level, and establishing McIntyre as an even more compelling villain and making him one of the main top names in WWE today. For Punk, it was the perfect showcase of his WWE return, proving he was back for the right reasons and he could still deliver excellent matches with great storytelling. For McIntyre, despite being on the losing end of the trilogy, it was perhaps the defining feud of his career, showing new depths to his character and cementing his status as one of WWE's top performers. But following this violent battle against McIntyre, the Best in the World appeared the next night on Raw and said he'd take some time to heal his battered and wounded body, and Punk would not be seen on WWE TV for the next month until a certain wise man came calling. After a short hiatus, Punk made his return at the conclusion of the November 22 episode of SmackDown as the 5th member of Roman Reigns' team at Survivor Series War Games 2024, alongside the returning Paul Heyman. At Survivor Series 2024, a year after his return to the company, Punk would team up with Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn to defeat Solo Sikoa's new Bloodline in a War Games match. But this story is just getting started. You see, this isn't the first time Punk has gotten involved in Bloodline business since his return. Just a few weeks after his return, Punk mentioned Roman Reigns during one of his promos.
Roman Reigns!
And proclaimed himself as the OG Paul Heyman guy.
Don't forget who the OG Paul Heyman guy is.
6 months later, Punk would once again find himself dealing with Solo Sikoa's Bloodline on SmackDown when the wise man told him,
"Take me with you."
And even leading up to the War Games match, Punk made it very clear that he wasn't participating in the match because he wanted to help Roman Reigns, but instead it was because of a favor that Heyman would owe Punk. Knowing the turbulent history between Punk and Heyman, one can only imagine what this favor will be. Will it be a world title match down the line? Will it be to have Heyman in his corner at WrestleMania? Will it be Reigns and Punk battling it out for the custody of Heyman while the wise man is suspended above the ring in a shark cage? Okay, yeah, I don't know about that one, but one can only speculate at this point. But one thing is for certain is that WWE TV is so much more fun when CM Punk is around. Be it Punk destroying his opponents on the mic, putting on classics in the ring, or getting involved in bloody backstage brawls. Oh, wait, wrong company.
Because he wants me to work with pricks constantly.
With the road to WrestleMania 41 just around the corner, it'll be interesting to see what the Best in the World has in store for us. Will we finally get that Rollins versus Punk match this year at Mania? Will we see Punk finally getting his WrestleMania main event? What about the favor Heyman owes Punk? Questions and more questions, but I think one thing's for sure, and that is that if Punk stays healthy, we're about to have another banger year going into 2025. But what's your take on CM Punk's first year back in the WWE? Did it live up to the hype? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe if you enjoyed.